Nolan had no sacks, no tackles for loss, no quarterback hits. Bye week comes, and obviously since then, he's been a different guy. What have you seen differently from him? What clicked for him? Any sense of where it came from?
You know, like I've said with him, he's done a great job of working, and he's constantly improved. And the more you play, the more you practice, and he's getting more snaps now too because since BG went down. So gets more practice plays, gets more game plays, you get better. That's the only way you get better is to practice and play. And he was improving in those first 4 weeks too. But like you've made note, it's, you know, come to fruition here since.
When you have that rotation with 3 men, is that on the edge? Is that typical that you shorten the rotation, or is that just sort of a feeling out process?
Yeah, it's just where you're at. I mean, 3's fine. You know, we basically have 2 out there every play, and there's anywhere from 60 to 70 plays in a game, and so that's anywhere from 120 to 140, and 3 guys can handle that.
Why'd you go with Rodgers over Ringo on that side when typically it's been Ringo?
No, Isaiah's been the first in,
Okay.
no matter what side.
Okay.
Zach at the end of the game when he fakes the stunt. Is that something that is called or discussed on the sideline, or is that all him just feeling?
A little bit of everything, and during the week we had run the stunt that he was faking in them the first game with some success. So I think it worked because of that, what happened in the first game we played them.
There's a chance Isaiah Rodgers has a bigger role this week. You obviously get to watch him practice all season. How do you feel like he's improved throughout the year behind the scenes without getting consistent snaps every week?
Well, he was a guy that all during OTAs and training camp was doing very well. And then he broke his hand and was out for a few weeks and was slow to recover from that, meaning when he came back, he wasn't playing at the same level he was prior. But now he's definitely back to where he was, and I have total confidence in him if he plays.
With Jalen, how have you seen him grow in maybe the mental side of the game or some of those finer details, like with that fake stunt and stuff like that?
He's growing. You know, you play as much as he plays, and he gets practice. He's growing. You know, he's a second-year player, getting a lot of playing time. He should improve.
I know you've only had 1 year with him, but you know, with you and Clint, how have y'all approached, you know, coaching Jalen and creating opportunities for him inside? I know you don't put ceilings on players, but like, how often do you kind of coach and create schemes around him, knowing that he could, you know, transcend some situations?
Not as often as you think, you know, because once you do something, it affects everything else. But it's something that we look to build on.
How much freedom does he have when it comes to like some of those moves and like faking the stunt, that sort of thing?
Well, when you get an obvious pass, it goes up a little bit. You know, in the either-or situations, not so much.
When you have a young quarterback,
when you have a player on that level who can potentially be what he could potentially be, do you have to kind of hold him down a little bit from a standpoint of not praising him too much so he doesn't get too big ahead too soon?
A little bit, but I don't worry about that because there's plenty to correct, too.
Jayden Daniels is obviously a young quarterback, and you saw him just last month, but he's played in his first postseason games. I mean, in that small amount of time, has he changed?
He's a young quarterback by birth certificate, not by the tape. You know, the guy's playing extremely well. You could tell how much they think he's playing, you know, so good by the volume of their offense and the things they trust him to do. And he's come through for them in a big way. And he's tough to handle.
You mentioned the volume. Is aside from the amount of plays that Cliff has and goes to, are there a lot of teams around the league that run a lot of what he does?
I'm sure there are, you know. He has the added dimension of the gun run game where he can have design runs for the quarterback or he can pull it and keep it. That adds another level to an offense, and he excels at that. And I assume he was doing it in college, and it just comes natural to him.
What's the type of guy
Is
who-
this the best you've ever seen a rookie play at that position?
You know, probably, yeah.
What's the teaching point from the fourth quarter of the last game?
We just got to finish. You know, I think you do have to give them some credit. He made some great throws. They made some great catches. One like we left somebody wide open. They're good. I think you always have to give the other team some credit when you're executing, you know, where you are supposed to be, and they're just out executing you and making plays. But our guys kept going. You know, we had belief that we could come up with a stop, and we did.
Is he the type of guy, Daniel's the type of guy that you could try, you have to more mush rush him in terms of the way that he gun runs them, or you feel like you can still go ahead and pressure him more outright?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a fine line there. If you're mush rushing, then he stands forever too. So we just have to do a good job of rushing, you know, when we're rushing 4 or 5 and make sure we don't give them lanes.
To get the production that you've gotten from young guys like Jalix Hunt, Morrow, Jomo, I mean, how valuable has that been for you, and how much have they improved, like, you know, throughout the course of the year?
Yeah, it's been very valuable, and they have improved. Mo's really done a nice job with the snaps that he's gotten over the last few months, and we have total confidence in him when we're in there. Nothing changes, and he's got some athleticism, and he seems to show up, and Jalix is getting better too.
In this case, when there's a team as aggressive and successful on fourth downs as they've been, does it affect your approach on third downs at all?
Sometimes, you know, depending upon what the third down is, you know, from a yardage standpoint.
You stuck with Oren in that game. Was that the plan going in?
You know, we had planned to possibly play Trot some, but, you know, Oren was doing okay. Things were going okay, so we stuck with it.
When you have a back like Eckler who can impact the passing game more than most, is that shift your philosophy a little bit at linebacker or not?
In what way?
Just from the coverage standpoint, the athletic, we talked about Oren and Trot, just whether someone has better coverage ability or not. Is that more a part of it when you have a back like Eckler?
Yeah, it could be, but, you know, basically Trot and Oren are very similar, so it doesn't in this case.
Why do you think they're so efficient on fourth down?
Quarterback and the talent around him.
In Slay's case, you don't see corners at that age very often. What is it that allows him to be effective at age 34?
He's like some good Italian Dago red wine. It gets better with age. And he's still in good shape, hadn't lost much of his movement, still really likes to play, and I think that's a big part of it.
Talking about the talent around Daniels, have you anybody standing out in terms of their growth over the season, where you can tell that they're...
Well, Ertz and McLaurin are, you know, two of the best at their positions. Brown has really come on for them of late. Their backs are good now that they got Eckler back. Robinson's a good back. You know, they're really well balanced in their skill positions, what they can and can't do.
You've also gotten better with age.
Me? I'll leave that up to you guys.
In the case of Zach Vaughn and Cooper DeJean, when you're able to bring them down to the front out of nickel, how does that allow you, I guess the versatility, how does that help you when you don't have to change personnel, but you have different fronts?
It helps, you know, for sure. When you don't have to sub to do different stuff, it helps.
All right. Thanks, guys.